All right, welcome back to the Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Shoot to Rock. We're back with another episode here this Monday. Going to be repping episodes pretty much weekly on Mondays at this point. Around probably this 8 or 9 time frame. We're a little late tonight. Was doing some traveling back. Today went to the Hoosiers gym for you hoop heads. Who are big fans of the movie Hoosiers. Went to the gym today, got some shots up. So it was pretty neat experience, but let's talk some ball. And, college basketball, like I said, that's my main thing. Been talking a lot of this year. We crowned our national champion last Monday. Transfer portal's going on, but in all honesty, that doesn't really interest me. Like, I'm not really a big hypotheticals, what's going on off the court kind of guy. I like talking about the games itself and kind of, recapping games, giving predictions, and that's exactly what we're going to do here tonight. We have the NBA playoffs starting this week. Well, we got the play-in this week, playoffs this weekend. And, like I'm saying, I probably have not talked a ton of NBA on this show this year. Times I have, around the trade deadline, all-star break, stuff like that. But other than that, I don't know. And I think it is just a big part of, this is my first year that I would say, covered college basketball from November, the start of the season. Obviously, I always have been watching since November, but like most tapped in that I was, starting like during football season here through the rest of the season. So like I said, probably the least amount of NBA I've watched in a good amount of time here, but the NBA playoffs I always tune in for. The NBA and NHL playoffs, like this time of year, is honestly, it's one of my favorite times of the year for sports. Like I really think, March Madness is probably number one. Then number two is probably, in the fall, October, when you got like October baseball, NBA and NHL regular seasons starting. So, like the first couple weeks, I'm usually pretty invested before college basketball starts. Plus, obviously, you got football going on then. And then now I would say it's right now where you have very meaningful games just about every single night. And that's something, I really look forward to tuning in for. Granted, maybe we don't always have the most upsets here in the NBA playoffs like we would in a March Madness or even, the NHL playoffs at times. But it's really fun games. So we're going to go through here this week. I'm going to give kind of my preview and different predictions for the play-in, as well as then the both conferences, and wrap up, my finals winner and just kind of some awards who I've got winning different awards. So let's put it up here on the screen. Here's the playoff bracket that we'll be working with here, and we'll start with our play-in preview. Those are the games we'll talk about. Like I said, those are happening here first this week. So let me see here. No, I don't like that. Oh, that alignment does not look good. Here we go. Why don't we do that? I might have messed it up. Oh, man. Yeah, there we go. All right, so first, the 7-8 games, we have the Suns and the Blazers, and then the 76ers and the Magic. So all these play-in games here are going to be on Amazon Prime. That's new this year, and that's another, thing we can maybe talk about a little bit is, this year all the NBA games, all playoff games are going to be on national broadcasts, which I mainly watch them like on that, like on the national broadcast anyways. I mean, I'm a Lakers fan. I live out here in Chicago, so it's not like I get Lakers games regionally. So that's not like a huge deal to me, but I know it was kind of a big deal to some people, and I get it. Like, you are, I guess really even just for the broadcast, like you broadcast 82 games or, however many that they broadcast. Obviously, each team kind of has a couple national games where guys probably get a night off, but you're with the team all season, and then just to kind of come playoff time, even though it was, they would really just broadcast the first round here going forward. I'm sure that probably is a little bit here of a disappointment. So yeah, like I said, we got the Heat and the Hornets, and then the Blazers and the Suns. Okay, so I'm wrong. Wait a minute. How are they doing this? We're going 9-10 in the East, and then say, okay, that's interesting. Not realize they were doing that. But so we'll start talking about those two games here first. So we got my guy, Canucks won't win. He's commenting Rip City. He likes the Blazers there to get the win in that game there against the Suns. And I'm going to pull up here the season series for every team for all these games. I think that's maybe a good kind of talking point where granted, obviously NBA, not every guy plays in every game, but let's look at that first. So the Suns and the Blazers. It looks like the Suns won the season series 2-1, beating the Blazers 127 to 110 on November 18th, and then 130 to 125 back on February 3rd. But on February 22nd, Portland won 92 to 27. So leaders for these teams, for Portland, it's Denny Advia, leading scorer, with then Donovan Clingan leading rebounder, and Advia obviously leading assist man as well. On the Phoenix side, it's Devin Booker leading scorer, 26 points per game. He's also leading assist man. So it's really going to be a big battle here between Booker and Avdia in my eyes. Mark Williams then there, the other the leading rebounder for Phoenix. So it's going to be him and Clingan kind of going there back and forth. And this is one, like, I do think come playoff time and home court matters, but also like having experience matters. Where this Portland team, a lot of these guys, especially like Denny Advia here, their leader, this is kind of their first, big like playoff game. Where I think that matters. Where Devin Booker, he's granted obviously a lot different team, going than their finals run, but I think him having that playoff experience here, I think that gives them a good chance to get the win here. Canucks won't win also says DC going off or Donovan Clingan. I could agree. I like that take there. He's averaging 11 rebounds per game. He's really solid player. He's played a really big role for this Portland team this year. So I could see that as well. It's more just I think Devin Booker kind of has the ability to take over this game that maybe others don't. So for that reason, I think I'm going to go with Phoenix to get the win there. So they'd be then the 7th seed and playing San Antonio here in the first round. Then I'll just go back. I'm just going to do both conferences first. So then we'll look at this Clippers and Warriors game, the 9-10 game. That one is on Wednesday. I believe is the late game. Late game on Wednesday. Again, also all these games on Amazon Prime here for the play-in tournament. So looking here at the season head-to-head matchups, the Warriors won back on October 28th, 98-79, behind 21 points from Jimmy Butler, who's obviously not playing anymore. But then the Clippers won the other 3 meetings, 103 to 102 on January 5th, 114 to 101 on March 2nd, and 115 to 110 on April 12th. So this is one, the Warriors are playing really bad basketball as of late. This is like one of those where I'm not like the biggest fan of the play, and I think the games are fun and like the concept itself is cool, but like the Warriors are not anywhere near a playoff caliber basketball team. On the other hand, the Clippers got off to that horrible start and, probably are better than a 9 seed. So like for them, having this play in here helps them. Kawhi Leonard, he leads them in every major category, even in steals. So he's, really their just go-to guy in every aspect of the game. And I mean, that makes sense. He's Kawhi Leonard. He's one of the best players in the NBA. So that really, doesn't surprise me at all. On the Warriors side, looking at it here, it's Braden Podziemski, their current leading scorer. This might be like factoring in injuries and stuff like that. He's averaging 13 points per game, and then has Draymond as a leading rebounder and assist man. And like I said, the Warriors are dealing with a lot of injuries. Like you said, no Jimmy Butler, traded a lot of like key pieces where I think that's gonna be a big thing for them, where it's just there's really not. I'm not seeing guys that are going to really get them over the top. Like I said, they've really been struggling. So for that reason, I think I am going to go with the Clippers there. So then we would get Clippers-Blazers in that 8-9 game, which then we can pull up how they fared here in the season series against each other as well. And I hate to be this guy. My guy Canucks won't win. I think he's not going to be a big fan of this pick, but I think I probably would go with the Clippers over the Blazers once again, just because of that playoff experience. Granted, here looking at the season series, 2 teams did split, with the Clippers winning the first 2 meetings back in October and December, 114 to 107, and then 119 to 103. With that second game, James Harden being the leading scorer, guy who's no longer here on the team. Then the 2 matchups as of late, Portland won 114 to 104, behind 30 points from Drew Holiday, and then on April 10th, won 116 to 97 behind 35 from Denny Advia. So really, for me in that one, like the key would just be, can a guy here, like we're saying, Donovan Clingan, can he really, step up and lead this Blazers team? Like I said, Denny Advia obviously been the leading scorer, especially in all those matchups here as of late. But I don't know, man. It's just one of those things. Like I'm more familiar with the Clippers. I think I just like I said, it's once again just the more experience. And my guy Canucks won't win. He agrees with me here. He says Clippers are the better team. Kobe Sanders is a dude. I like that take. Yeah, I agree. So for that reason, I'm probably going the Suns and the Clippers here to get the two bids out of the play-in tournament in the West. And granted, I mean, I think both those teams are probably then going to get smoked by either the Spurs or the Thunder. It'd be Suns, Spurs, and then Clippers, Thunder. I mean, even if the Blazers, took down the Clippers, I think you're probably still just looking at the Thunder win that series pretty easily. So I really think, that's the other thing here with, the play-in tournament a little bit. Like, okay, maybe these couple games are exciting, but it really gets like those fan bases, like 2 more meaningful games. I mean, I guess, yeah, then you make the playoffs, but you would have just been in the playoffs anyways, and then, probably getting smoked or you're losing in 4 or 5 games. Canucks won't win here, says Thunder, the best team in the NBA. I would have to agree with that take right now. So let's move over to the Eastern Conference here, and we'll start here with that Hornets and Heat game that we're getting here tomorrow. And the Miami Heat, that's what I'm saying. It's another one of these teams where, like, the play-in, they've just been able to kind of just be mid, and it's okay because of the play-in. They're just in the play-in every year. They don't really have to try in the regular season, and then here they are. But I think things might be changed this year. I mean, granted, the Hawks took a step up. They're just actually in the playoffs. The Bulls, who is usually in there with the Heat as well, they just missed it. So they're finally bad because some teams in the bottom finally got going. One of those being the Charlotte Hornets, who are playing really good basketball as of late right now, finishing the season 44-38, a game better than Miami. Granted, Miami did win 2 out of the 3 regular season meetings, winning 144-117 back in October and 126-108 back in November. But excuse me, I would argue those are like completely different teams than they are now. Because then, while the Heat do win 128-120 on March 6th, behind 33 points from Tyler Hero, Charlotte wins 136-106 back on March 17 behind 30 points from LaMelo Ball. And LaMelo Ball and Con Knippel are one of the most fun backcourts here to watch in the NBA. Just in general, like I said, the Hornets have been really hot this second half of the season. Brandon Miller, honestly, is even more of a threat. Like, he's their leading scorer with 20 points per game. Then Moussa Diabate, their go-to big, with 8.7 rebounds, where this is one, like I said, usually I'm kind of leaning the experience, and I don't know, maybe that does kind of get the Hornets in that spot where, like I said, they've been playing really well, but they've been playing pretty free because, it's the regular season. They're kind of playing with house money, where now it's a playoff game. Maybe things tighten up a little bit, but I just think they're the better team. So for that reason, I think they end up getting that win over the Heat here tomorrow. Let me see if I can find an odds on this one. Yeah, they're 5.5-point favorites. So the sports books think they're going to win as well. And I'd have to agree. Like, plus with it being at home, the first time like Charlotte's going to have a playoff game, I'm pretty sure, since they've become the Hornets again. I don't think there's been a single playoff game there. They're perennially just kind of been one of the worst franchises. Granted, they only are 21-20 at home, but Miami is 17-24 on the road. So we'll see. Can a guy like Tyler Hero, who's been there before, step up? Or will these young guys who are playing really well keep going? Like I said, I'm kind of leaning the young guys there. So for that reason, give me Charlotte. And then they're going to be playing whoever loses between the Magic and the 76ers. That's the 7-8 game here, where for the Magic, honestly, it's maybe crazy to say, this is a really disappointing season for me, in all honesty. Like, kind of the strides they've taken the past couple of years to really take a step back, especially the way Paolo Banchero has been playing, really just has not been playing as well as of late. Really struggled. So that's been kind of disappointing to see. So season series here, Philly won 2 of 3, winning 136-124 back on October 27th. Orlando won the middle game, 144-103 back on November 25th. And then these two teams have not played since January, where Philly won 103-91. So team leaders here for the Magic, like I said, every category, it's Paolo Banchero, 22 points, 8 boards, and 5 assists. On the Philly side, a little bit more spread out. Tyrese Maxey scoring 28 points a game with 6 assists. He's also the leader in steals. And then Andre Drummond, their leading rebounder. Joel Embiid, I don't believe is going to be playing in this game after having surgery this week. Unless I am wrong, I would say, yeah, it says here that he is injured. So I would not expect that he would be playing in this one, which maybe is a little bit advantage Orlando. But in all honesty, like, I don't really think that's like they have some like solid bigs that can really kind of make up for that, especially considering Adam Bona former UConn product, really has been playing pretty well for Philly, like I said, plus, and they have Drum as well. It's really going to be like, can Wendell Carter slow them down? I don't really think that's now like some huge advantage in the position without Embiid. And yeah, just like I said, a lot of guys on this Magic team this year, I'd really say just like kind of took a step back after how well they performed last year, plus this game being in Philly. For that reason, I'm probably going to go with the Sixers, get the win there. So they'd be the 7 seed playing Boston, which, it's just a classic rivalry. Two franchises that don't like each other. Granted, I think Boston's by far the better team. But I think that would be a lot of fun. So that would then set up a Magic Hornets where it's a team that's, ahead of schedule against a team that's, maybe a little bit here kind of behind schedule, I'd almost say, after, putting up some of the numbers they have the past couple of years to miss the playoffs altogether. I think that would really be a disappointment. So Charlotte won 2 of the 3 season meetings between these two teams. The only one Orlando won was back on October 30th, 123 to 107 when Franz Wagner went for 21 points in that one. But Charlotte won on December 26th, January 22nd, and as recently as March 19th, 130 to 111. Behind Kobe White, one of their new additions, going for 27 points, being the leading scorer in that one. So honestly, I think I would probably pick Charlotte. Granted, again, this is a very hypothetical matchup. We don't know. We could very easily get Miami and Philly. Like I could be completely wrong, but I think we're getting Orlando and the Hornets in this one. Let me pull up. Yeah, well, I guess that wouldn't have odds, but the game between the Sixers and Magic does. Yeah, the Sixers are projected to win. So yeah, we're probably getting Hornets and Magic, I would say, and I think I'm going to do it. I think both times I'm going to go with the 9 seed. So I like Charlotte to take down Orlando and get the 8 seed here in the East. So let's go over now to just this Eastern Conference, kind of talk about that a little bit more here. So then the matchups that we would have, and we do have when game ones are for these series. So that's a little bit exciting. So first would be the Cavs and the Raptors in the 4-5, where Cleveland's the 4, 52-30 on the year to Toronto's 46-36, being the 5 seed. Game 1 for that series is at 1 Eastern time on Prime Video on Saturday. So we got a lot of Prime Video. The first 3 games are going to be on Prime Video on Saturday, with then the usual ABC Saturday night game, and then ABC is the first 2 games on Sunday before Sunday night basketball doubleheader on NBC. So I am really curious kind of to see here how they do it. I think it's going to be a lot of like Peacock and Prime during the week, which I'm not the biggest fan of like streaming, in all honesty, for playoff games, but the fact that like the NBA used to show playoff games on NBA TV is just kind of crazy to me. So like that always was really annoying, of like having to switch back and forth between apps, like because I would usually just go between or I don't even know what I would do, but like just having playoff games on NBA, I would argue having it on Prime, where like I said, it's very easy to just kind of flip back and forth, having all the games on Prime, or same thing. I think it's going to be like, the NBC Sports Network, or, essentially Peacock. Just having all the games in the same app and being able to split back and forth. Maybe if we're lucky, those apps will even, kind of offer like a split screen option. That'd be pretty sick for these playoff meetings here. So like I said, first let's break down this 4-5 matchup between the Cavs and the Raptors. So the season series, Toronto actually won all 3 games, winning on October 31st, November 13th, November 24th. So obviously been a very long time since these two teams played, kind of different teams now at this point. Having James Harden here on this Cleveland Cavaliers team to go with Donovan Mitchell instead of it being Darius Garland. And then on the Sixers side, or I'm sorry, not the Sixers side, the Raptors side, we got Brandon Ingram leading the way with 21 points, and Scotty Barnes, their leading rebounder, as well as he's the leader in steals and blocks. So he's played a really big role for them this year. He's been a really fun player to watch. This Raptors team, I did actually watch live back in, what was that? I think November, a game against the Bucks, and they looked pretty good. Granted, the Bucks not a very good team this year. But I think this one really should be a fun series, even though, like I'm saying here, Toronto won every game in the regular season meeting, but they were it was a very long time ago, and these are now teams that, especially the Cavs more often, Cavs being the 1 seed last year, really thought they were destined to go on a finals run, get, upset here in the second round. So now it's going to be kind of, put up or shut up time for them a little bit here where, okay, hey, like if they can get by the Raptors, then maybe they can kind of do to Detroit what Indiana did to them last year. Even, we'll see here, maybe even Charlotte, who's been playing really well, could take down Detroit. So I think that would be a really fun series. But, I mean, getting by Toronto is going to be no easy task. Like I said, Manuel Quickly, as well as Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes. Like, it's a really good starting five here for this Toronto team. For me, the key in this series, like how do guys like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen play? That's where maybe, the Cavs could have a little bit of an advantage just because, like I said, I think they do have really good guards, but so does Toronto. So this is one, like, I think we're looking at a pretty deep series here. I think this is one that probably goes 6 or 7 games. And for that reason, like series like that, where it's kind of a toss-up for me, where I think it goes the distance, I usually do just kind of end up leaning, going with the team that has home court. Plus, like I said, the Cavs a little bit more playoff experience than this Raptors squad. So give me the Cavs to win this one. I'll go in 7 games here. I think, like I said, I think this is going to be a really good series. And I'm pretty excited for it. I guess we can put the bracket back up. Let me see if I can like find a bracket that I could fill out. That would be a nice like added touch here. I don't know. It might be a little bit too early. And like, is that something people would be interested in if, I did say some sort of NBA bracket challenge? I know my my one for the for March Madness actually did pretty well. Got a good amount of people joining here. Let me see. All right, it's loading right now. Sorry, this is something I should have done before. I'm probably gonna get like 20 different ads. If it doesn't work, then we're probably just gonna, you could win a bracket challenge. Yeah, come on, dude. Let me play the bracket challenge. So I wish I had like an ad I could like play or something in the meantime. All right, we'll try to figure that out later. So then we'll move on to the other series here we have in the East in the first round that's already set. We got the 3 seed, the New York Knicks, taking on the 6 seed, the Atlanta Hawks. Like I said, kind of we're one of these teams that have been in the play-in for years here now, but big trade they made, trading away Trae Young here during the season. So kind of a new era, different team than, the one that went into the Garden and beat the Knicks in the first round a couple years ago. That, was a pretty big upset, not big upset, but, something that maybe people didn't see coming. So, I would say it's 2 very different teams now, because there's a lot of, guys on that Knicks team that were there then that aren't there now. And, kind of vice versa, where, they're now here. So I kind of think they're a better team than they were before. Let's see here. Am I able to fill out this bracket? I am. Sick. All right. I will switch to this then. So that way you guys can kind of see my picks here as I am filling this out. So shout out ESPN. I guess ESPN is just the way to go. Let me remove this. Let me share screen. Stop. There you go, NBA challenge. All right, so like I said, I picked the Cavs here in the first round, and now we're previewing the Hawks and the Knicks, and then they even have the nice little preview thing. It just takes you to game 1. So game 1 for this series is at 6 Eastern time on Saturday on Amazon Prime. All the series that are set here are Amazon Prime on Saturday, except for then Rockets Lakers Saturday night. So looking here at the season preview, the Knicks won 2 of 3 meetings, 128-125, back on December 27th. Then their other win, April 6th, 108-105. Jalen Brunson was the leading scorer in that one. Back on January 2nd, though, the Hawks won 111-99 with both Onyeka Okongwu and Nickeil Alexander-Walker going for the leading 23 points in that one. My guy, Canucks won't win, says Hawks Knicks will be lit. I do really think it is going to be a good series. These are 2 teams, that matched up here pretty well in the regular season. Looking at their stats, pretty similar. Atlanta's a slightly more high-scoring team. But the Knicks, rebound the ball slightly better. Hawks quite slightly more rebounds per game. Both teams shoot the ball at pretty similar clips. The Knicks are a slightly better free throw shooting team. But other than that, everything's pretty even. So, yeah, I agree. I think these are going to be – it's going to be another, pretty good series here. It's one where So a little bit though, I do think kind of the playoff experience matters a little bit. Where the Knicks, like I said, they're guys that were in the conference finals. Last year have won some playoff series with Brunson, Hart, Bridges, Anunoby, and Towns. It's just really going to be kind of the put up or shut up year here for Cat. We'll see kind of how he performs this postseason. And then on the Atlanta side, guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, CJ McCollum, like maybe not as talented of a roster. So it's gonna be guys like Jalen Johnson, who's been playing really well, this season for the Hawks. Is a big reason they traded away Trae Young. Is seen as a guy that they can just kind of build around. So I think he's gonna have to have a really big series, but it's just one of those. I just kind of like the guys on the Knicks here a little bit better. I think they just have the slightly better team. I mean, that's why they're the 3 seed in this one. So I think I'm gonna go. Looking here at my bracket, I'm probably going to go with the Knicks in this one. Let me see. Do the Knicks have to win the Eastern Conference this season? Kind of feels like it. I would agree a little bit. I mean, this is definitely I would say the East is definitely more open than the West. I would say, in the West, I really just kind of think we're getting Thunder, Spurs, maybe the Nuggets, but I think we're really just kind of getting one of those two teams. Where the East, like, I could be talked into the Knicks. Granted, maybe a little bit of disappointing regular season, where people kind of thought the Celtics were going to be out of it. And then, Jaylen Brown has the huge year that he's had where, now the Celtics are the 2 seed. So I think we're going to get another Knicks-Celtics second round series here. And then it's really just kind of like, yeah, like I said, I could see the Cavs beating the Pistons. I mean, I could even see the Hornets beating the Pistons. So then it's almost really like, in that sense, is the Knicks Celtics, assuming we get that in the second round, is that the conference finals a little bit here, pseudo conference finals. And that really wouldn't surprise me. So it does kind of seem like this has to be the year. I mean, we'll kind of see what we get here with Jason Tatum, but I like that question there. I would say yes, this kind of does have to be the year. And then just kind of here going quickly, because like I said, these series aren't necessarily set. So I have it being the Celtics taking on the 76ers. Looking here at the regular season meetings, they split them 2-2. Granted, most 3 of the 4 games were, here early in the season when Jason Tatum was not playing, where Philly won 117-116 on October 22nd. And then Boston won 109-108 on October 31st. Philly wins 102-100. Now I remember that, yeah, like these two teams played a lot of games really early, and all 3 of them were really good. But then Boston wins 114-98 back on March 1st, where Neemias Queta and Jaylen Brown were the leaders in that one with 27 points apiece. So Jaylen Brown obviously has had a huge year this year for the Celtics. Really stepped up. It's going to be him and Tyrese Maxey really battling, where I just like Jaylen Brown a little bit more. Plus, now you add in a Jason Tatum who is, maybe not 100%, but is playing, is, really contributing for this Celtics team enough where, I think him coming back does make a difference. So for that reason, I think the Celtics should win this series pretty easily. I think they win that, and probably looking here, I would say I'll give Philly a game. I would say probably 5 games. So I would say right now I'm looking at Cavs in 7, Knicks in 6, and probably Celtics in 5. However, I'm not going to go Detroit in 4. Detroit and Charlotte, I think, is going to be a really good series. It's going to be, probably one of the better 1-8 series we've been in a long time, just because it's 2 teams that, don't really have a ton of playoff experience. Granted, Detroit did make it last year, gave the Knicks a series here in the first round. So that one, was pretty fun to watch. They sweep the season series here against Charlotte. Like I said, Charlotte's just playing, really, really good basketball here as of late. I think, that could make a pretty big difference in this one, where, Charlotte, granted, not as great, 6-4 in their last 10, but Detroit's 8-2 in their last 10. So as much as I'd love to pick Charlotte, I do just think, Detroit, like I said, does have a little bit more experience, and they, they've been the best team here in the East all year. So I'm going to go Detroit to beat Charlotte. And that one, I'll give Detroit, or I'll give Charlotte. They kind of do what Detroit did the Knicks last year, where maybe punch above their weight a little bit. So I'll go Pistons in 6. So now let's move over here to the Western Conference. I'm just going to kind of do my first round prediction. I'm not going to fill out the full bracket here. I am at the end going to go and talk about my, finals prediction, stuff like that, but I'm not going to fill out my full bracket. So looking here at the West, we'll start. Why don't we start with, what that third game 1 will be here in the Nuggets and Timberwolves. That one's going to be at 3:30 Eastern time on Prime Video on Saturday, game one. Denver's a 6.5-point favorite in that one. So these two teams have a lot of familiarity with each other as of late. Minnesota has gone to the conference finals the last 2 years. Granted, has gotten pretty much kind of worked in both those conference finals. Like, we're never really super competitive, but in those runs have pulled off a couple upsets, including the 1 year, taking down Detroit when they were the defending champions. So that was, really, really impressive stuff there from from Minnesota. And we'll kind of see, here, can they do it again? Like I said, last year they were the 6th seed and they made the conference finals, and now they are once again in that same position. Granted, I would say not looking as good as they have in other years. It's kind of been like injuries are a big reason why they're in that position. These two teams, Denver won 3 of 4 meetings. Minnesota won their only win came on March 1st, 117-108, where Ant Edwards went for 21 points in that one. But Nikola Jokic right now is probably the greatest player on the planet. He becomes the first player in NBA history to ever lead the NBA in both rebounds and assists for a season. A couple of comments here that I'll touch on. Hornets are a fun team, but yeah, not getting past Milltown, I'd have to agree. And then, yeah, it was really cool seeing KG at the game yesterday. I have to agree. Like I said, was at the Columbus Blue Jackets hockey game last night, so didn't watch a ton of NBA, but did, check scores and look on Twitter and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm always a big fan of when teams, bring back former legends and stuff like that. So, like I said, Jokic literally leads every single category here for the Nuggets, and he's just so dominant. He's a guy where it's going to be really hard for Minnesota to slow him down in this series. It's going to be a big task there for Rudy Gobert, where it's just something I don't really think they are up to that task, in all honesty. So it's really going to be, can Anthony Edwards just have an insane couple games here where he maybe, steals a game or two, which I could see happening. So I do think, like, this series, we're probably once again looking at, like, at least 6 games. But it's one where, like I said, Denver's just the better team. They've already won 3 of the 4 meetings between the two teams this season. And I don't really see, any issues. I mean, even, like, their second unit, granted, Jokic did play a little bit last night, and the Spurs were pretty much all just playing their second unit as well. But even, like, guys like Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr. have, like, really stepped up at times for this Nuggets squad. So I just think they're the deeper team. They're the better team. I like the Nuggets to get the win in this series. And like I said, I'll probably go. It could maybe go 7. Like I said, it depends, like, how many games can Anthony Edwards kind of steal. But I would say I'm probably going to go Nuggets in 6 games there. Imagine if Jokic and SGA were on the same team. That would be really scary. That team probably wouldn't be any fair, and not a whole lot of. It'd be like the 2016 Warriors with KD and Steph all over again, except for probably even better. So glad they're not on the same team. So then the final series that gets tipped off here on Saturday, we have the Lakers and the Rockets, the 4-5. Like I said, that game will be at 8:30 Eastern time on ABC. So the Saturday night ABC game, they always do. And, I saw some people were maybe not super happy that the Lakers are getting that slot due to, just a lot of the injuries they're having here, which really kind of makes this series a completely different series, in my opinion. If Luka Doncic is able to somehow maybe get back and play for the Lakers, I'd have to check really the injury report on him again. But without him, like, this Lakers team, I think it's going to be really tough. I mean, obviously, they win last night against the Jazz, who are a not very good team. Yeah, they already have Luka Doncic. I think Luka's out for the year pretty much. He's scheduled to be reevaluated here on Tuesday, but hasn't played since April 2nd. And that's really, just kind of a big blow to this Lakers team, where they've really kind of started to build around him more, like he has been the go-to guy here for the Lakers. But we do get another LeBron KD series, which is fun. We haven't had one of those since the 2018 finals when it was Warriors Cavs. So to get them, dueling here in the playoffs again could be fun. But in all honesty, I kind of think with no Luka, this kind of turns a little bit into one of those Warriors Cavs series where, the Lakers are the Cavs in this one. LeBron's still LeBron. They get 1, maybe 2 games if they're lucky, but I think we're probably looking at a Rockets winning this series pretty easily with no Luka. Kevin Durant leading scorer for Houston, but then guys like Alfred Sengun and Amen Thompson have played really well for the Rockets as well this year. The Lakers actually did win 2 of the 3 season meetings. Granted, the Rockets won the first one on Christmas, behind 26 points from Amen Thompson. But then Luka was the leading scorer in both the wins in 2 games in 3 days here in March. Like I said, now most likely no Luka. Like I said, if maybe somehow comes back, I might switch my pick to like Lakers in 7, or if he can like will him to a game or 2. But I don't think we're gonna be lucky enough for that to happen. So I'm gonna go with the Rockets to win that series, and I'm gonna go probably once again just gonna go for 6 games, just because that 6th game then be on their home court, close it out. Granted, that even might just be generous because last year, like I said, the Lakers were fully healthy and did not look good in the playoffs, and lost in 5 games. So then, like I said, once again, kind of go quickly here. We're gonna have Spurs, and then I have it being the Suns as the winner of the 7-8 game tomorrow. So that's what we're looking at there, where that season series between 2 teams, Phoenix won the first 2 back in November, but then the most 2 recent meetings, February 19th and March 19th, San Antonio won both 121-94 and then 101-100, where Wemby was the leader with 34 in the last game. And then even Stephon Castle was the leader in the previous game. And that's really been the big thing for the Spurs this year. Obviously, Victor Wembanyama is like the best player in the NBA. Maybe not the best, but he's like, I would say it's probably Jokic, Wemby, and Shea are the best 3 players in the NBA right now. If you disagree, let me know in the chat. But I don't really think there's anyone on Phoenix can slow him down. But then it's really guys like Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox who have really stepped up. Even, Keldon Johnson's played some pretty good minutes. Carter Bryant had like a huge, granted, he doesn't play like a ton, but he had a really good game last night for them too. So like the Spurs are a really deep team. Like, obviously, Wemby's really good, but there's more to that squad than really just him. So for that reason, I think they're going to be, really good here in the playoffs. I mean, guys, like Devin Vassell, and, Dylan Harper's given like solid backup point guard minutes as well. So I don't really think this would be a series that the Spurs would have too much trouble with. It's maybe one that like Phoenix gets like gentlemen swept, or like San Antonio's up 3-0 and then Phoenix just wins game 4 at home. But I don't really see that happening. So I'm gonna go Spurs, and I'll go, like I said, I'll give Phoenix 1 game. I'll go in 5 games. And this is a pretty fiery take here from Canucks won't win. Wemby better than Tim Duncan. I think there's definitely the potential where he could be. I think it's a little early though to call a guy that this is his first playoff appearance. And granted, he's very young. I mean, we'll just kind of have to see here. Sometimes these taller guys, obviously, you hope for the best, but sometimes the injury bug can get to them a little bit. But yeah, if Wemby stays healthy, he definitely has potential to be the greatest Spur, if not greatest NBA player ever. So I think that's, right now I probably would say no, but down the line, I in all honesty would not be surprised. And then the final series here will be the Thunder, and then I had it being the them taking on the Clippers, but it could be this Blazers, it could even be the Warriors. Granted, I would put very little stock in it being the Warriors. I also pulled this up here earlier, never even looked at the playoff probabilities of what do we even have? Is this just this just has like seed and then to win the conference, win the finals. This doesn't have like anything like win round by round. It's a Blazers fan. I know all about tall guys. Yep. Yes, you do. Oh man. But yeah, so like I said, I have it being Thunder and sorry, I pulled up the Blazers. No, I have it being the Thunder and the Clippers, being the 1-8 matchup there. OKC won all 3 games, 126-107 in November, 122-101 in December, and then 128-110 back on April 8th. Chet was the leader in that one. Shea was the leader in the previous 2, with then Harden being the leader for the Clippers in the first one, then Kawhi a leader in the last 2. So this is one, obviously we're talking here, defending NBA champions, best team in the league. I would say it's like I said, I think the West is not as wide open as the East. We'll kind of get that here in a second. But to not see the Thunder in the conference finals, I would be very surprised. Obviously, Shea, Chet. We'll kind of see, Jalen Williams has been dealing with some injuries where it's kind of they're going to need other guys to step up. Like they probably can't expect to get the run that they had out of him last year. But I mean, and then, you got even like Lou Dort, that's such a lockdown defender. So this is one I don't think they'd have any problem with the Clippers, and with it being the Thunder, like this is the one for sure sweep I'm gonna go with. So give me the Thunder. So I think we get Thunder Rockets, and then Nuggets Spurs out west, with then Pistons Cavs and Knicks Celtics out east. Granted, I know very square picks for me, but I don't think that's kind of what tends to happen here a lot in the NBA. So let me go here now quick. Like I said, give my finals pick, give my awards picks. Drop your guys' picks here down in the comment. Canucks won't win, saying Thunder and Knicks. I think that would be a good pick. I wouldn't mind that. So let me share this tab here that I was just referencing here on Basketball Reference. It has each team's odds to win the conference, odds to win the final. So in the East, the Pistons have the highest odds at 34.8% to win the conference and 12.9% to win the finals. The Celtics, 32.8% to win the conference, 12% to win the finals. And then the Knicks, 16% to win the conference, just about 5% to win the finals. Everyone else is around 6 or less. The Cavs are at a 6% chance with 1% chance to win the finals. And I would, like I said, I'd be very surprised if it was more. Those are the 4 teams I have it being in the second round. I mean, obviously, maybe you go with the Raptors. I think it is probably we're looking at one of those 4 teams coming here out of the East. On the Western Conference side, we have the Thunder, resounding favorites, 61% chance to win the conference with a 46% chance to win the finals. That's absolutely nuts that they have nearly a 50% chance to win the finals here before the playoffs even start. With then the Spurs in second, a 25% chance with a 16% chance to win the finals. The Nuggets only 5% chance to win the conference with a 2% chance to win the finals. Other than that, the Rockets have a 5% chance with then the 1.8% chance to win the finals. I also believe I did pull up the overall odds here. I can share that one too real quick as well. So looking here overall at the odds, we have the Thunder are the favorites at plus 110, within the Spurs plus 500, Celtics plus 550, Nuggets plus 850, Cavs 1700, Knicks 1800, Pistons 2200. So for me, my pick, if I had to go, if we had to go off the page here, go dark horses, I think I would maybe go my dark horses in each conference. I'm probably going to go with the 3 seeds. I'd go the Knicks, and I would go the Nuggets. Do I think that's what we're going to get? No. I think we get a Thunder Spurs Western Conference Finals. And then screw it, I'll pick the upset. I'm going to go Celtics Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals, where I think we get a Celtics and Thunder NBA Finals. My prediction. As much as it pains me, I'd rather see someone new. And like I would really like the Spurs, and like I said, I think that Spurs Thunder series is going to be a banger. I really hope we get it. I think that one would go 7 games. I really even think like Nuggets Thunder. It went 7 last year. I could see it going 7 again if the Nuggets get by the Spurs. I think, like I said, I don't know if we're maybe necessarily gonna have the most entertaining first round series, but I think a lot of these like second round series and even like conference finals could really be a lot of fun. But I am going to go with the Thunder. I know it's the square pick. I think they take down the Celtics. I think they are just the more talented team where, maybe if it was a healthy Jason Tatum, like, 100% healthy, that can maybe be a different story. But I think I am going to go with the Thunder to win the finals. And then I think we're probably just kind of looking at it would probably be Shea to win the finals MVP. I guess I have the regular season awards pulled up here, which we can touch on here quickly to kind of end things. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Thunder over the Celtics. I'm going to go Thunder in 6 games. I'm going to go Thunder in 6 over the Celtics. So let me know here down in the comments your guys' pick, and then quickly here we'll just go through the regular season awards since the regular season is wrapped up. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is obviously the betting favorite to win the MVP. Jokic right behind him. That's one of those things where let me pull up like Shai's stat line here, and then pull up Jokic's, because I mean Shai is the best player on the best team, and that sometimes that is just what wins the finals. or what wins the MVP, which makes sense. So looking here at Shea's stats, he scored 31 points per game with 4 rebounds and 6 assists on 55% shooting, 38% from beyond the arc, with a PER of 30.8 and 15.2 win shares. Nikola Jokic, and also too, I think a little bit of this is, Jokic already won 3 MVPs here, where people then might, be a little hesitant to pick him. He has 27 points with 12 rebounds, 10 assists, averages a triple-double, which it's so funny to me that, like, when Westbrook did that, it was, like, the biggest deal ever, and now it's just kind of, like, guys do that all the time. So I do find that kind of funny. But, yeah, that's his stat line. Like I said, does already have 3 MVPs. So for that reason, I personally would probably go Jokic, but I am also a bit of a Shea hater. So that's kind of my thoughts there. But yeah, probably will end up being Shea. Most improved, Denny Advida's the leader. Him or Jalen Johnson, I honestly like both those picks. Both those guys have played really big roles in their teams, playing really, really improving this year. So really can't go wrong. Either of those guys look like, Denny Advida's favorite, so it's probably be him. Victor Wembanyama is the favorite by far to win the East or win the defensive player. No problem with that. And then Cooper Flagg and Con Knipple. Cooper Flagg's a big favorite, but in all honesty, that's one I could really even. I think it should be a lot closer. Like, honestly, I would maybe take some Con Knipple there. I'm not a huge betting guy, but he set the rookie 3-point record like with 20 games left. So he's had a really good season. Let's see here. Canucks will win as OKC over the Knicks in 5. I like that. And then says the evolution and popularity of stats in sports will forever be fluid. That's a good point. I would agree. So I think that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much here for watching. Once again, we should be live. Like I said, my plan is every Monday here throughout the course of the playoffs. Like I said, right now, mainly going to be mostly just like talking about the different playoff games and stuff like that. But then as, we get closer to like draft lottery and the draft itself, we'll do some like NBA draft, maybe not necessarily mock draft, but talking through some prospects just since I am such a big college basketball guy. And also, really flexible here. Can just kind of talk about whatever you guys here in the chat want to talk about. So, really appreciate my guy Canucks won't win here watching live. Then, everyone else here that's been watching live as well. Like I said, always feel free. Drop your takes down in the comments. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. A lot of good stuff here going on right now at the Variety Sports Network. 7th inning stretch has been killing it. Most, consistent show we got going out there. Plus, starting doing some talking the gridiron again with the NBA draft going next week. And then I'm sure the 5-hole with NHL playoffs will be going here too. So a lot of good stuff. Make sure to check it out. Subscribe. Make sure to check me out, Shoot to Rock TTV on every social media platform. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever you're into. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next Monday. Peace.